All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another just extra SROS video, and I want to talk about the NBA draft. I'm actually not sure if you guys are going to see this on Saturday or Sunday. You guys might see this on Sunday, just because I think actually yesterday if I got it up. I just rambled about the 2026 draft and these three here in particular, in Peterson, AJ Dybantsa, and Cam Boozer, who now you can actually probably see when I'm pointing at them. And yeah, I'm going to react to the Athletics 2026 NBA mock draft. I've reacted to Bleacher Report's mock draft about a week and a half ago, and I really enjoy Sam Vecenie's draft content. His podcast, The Game Theory, is a great podcast with him and his co-host Bryce. They talk about the NBA draft all year long, and it's great stuff, and he is the Athletics main guy. And honestly, I don't know if, I think his last name's Borzello or Jeremy Woo, whoever's going to be the main ESPN draft guy now. I'm not really sure because they let go or they parted ways with Jonathan Givony, who's been their main draft guy forever now. Vecenie might be now the LeBron James of draft content. We'll see. So we're going to react to his mock draft. One thing here, this is before the college season started. Bleacher Report likes to update theirs a lot, so this is probably not overreacting to the start of the season and kind of seeing where he was at going into the year, and we'll see if anything has changed there forward. So number one overall, we have Darryn Peterson. I guess it is no team based here. It's just kind of picking out who's going to go where, which is totally fair. So Darryn Peterson, 6'5", 19-year-old Kansas guard. He's been hurt, or he didn't play in a game recently. He did play in the UNC game. He looked good in that one. I'm still in love with Darryn Peterson's game. I hope we just kind of hit a point this year where it was Cooper Flag in January, February last year, where every night he looked like the best player in college basketball. And I believe Peterson can 100% still do that this year for the Kansas Jayhawks. I mean, I wasn't really that high on the Jayhawks as a team going into the year. I think there's a good chance BYU and definitely Duke are better than Kansas, but he has all the tools in the world to go number one. The Wizards would take him one, in my opinion. I think the Pacers would still throw him in the backcourt with Halliburton. The Nets, I think, would take Peterson 1-1. I don't know if they would go Boozer. The Thunder, if they got the number one pick from the LA Clippers, I think they would end up going Darryn Peterson number one as well. I'm actually going to just kind of throw up Tankathon as well, just to maybe go back and forth and see where some of my favorite fits are right now. But we know that the 1, 2, and 3 is going to be in a certain way. Okay, so a lot of people, including me, have it Peterson, or going into the year, Peterson, Boozer, Dybantsa. He actually has Dybantsa 2 and Boozer 3, and I think that's might have changed for him. So he has Boozer 2 and Dybantsa 3 entering the year. Okay, but this is still a mock in a way, so that's still the case for him. Dybantsa's looked good so far to start off the year for BYU. They had a nice win against Nova, who wasn't going to be a top tier blue blood this year. But Dybantsa looks great getting around the rim. This guy is 6'9", but moves like a 5'11" guard out there with the ball in his hands. He is great at just getting to the rim and getting to his spots in the mid range, and that is something that if it can play in college, it should be able to play at the NBA level. I'm going to wait till Big 12 play starts. The first time he plays Baylor, the first time he plays Houston or Texas Tech, that game is getting circled on the calendar. And I'm clearing out everything that night and watching that game where it's a true test of Dybantsa's got to go up against Cohen Carr. Well, that's Michigan State. Going up against Tounde Yessoufou, or going up against JoJo Tugler, going up against some of the better defenders, even guarding, or Kingston Flemings, whoever gets the assignment in the Houston game. It's going to be really fun to watch. And that's what we get out of BYU now being in the Big 12. I think a couple years ago, they were in the Mountain West, right? When Zach Wilson was the second overall pick, I believe that was the Mountain West. So shout out to AJ Dybantsa this year. He's been good so far. It really depends who's 1, 2, and 3. If we look here, if it's Washington, moment I'm recording this is what it looks like. Washington, Indiana, Brooklyn. I don't know. Indiana could definitely go Boozer, who basically I don't know, replaces Siakam in the long term. But Dybantsa could make sense as well. I know Pacers fans who post that AJ Dybantsa Gunna song cover. They definitely want Dybantsa. So Boozer goes number 3 in the mock. Now, I don't know if it's just my algorithm on Twitter, but it's a lot of spreadsheet draft class guys I don't know if it's them not liking Boozer or the opposite, but there's been a lot of Boozer hate on my timeline to start off the year, which is whack. He didn't have the greatest game against Texas. He's got a great defender, Dalen Swain, out there, and it's Boozer's first game. I actually thought he had a really good game, even with him not shooting the ball well whatsoever. He looked great against Army. It's Army. No offense to the troops. But Cameron Boozer is going to impact the game in so many different ways. I mean, I would like for him to get a little bit stronger down low, I would say. This isn't high school anymore, and the ACC isn't super talented with big men. I think like that Duke UNC game though, where he gets Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar up against him, that's going to be a good test. Louisville's more known for kind of like their backcourt. Like Abdelas in Virginia Tech, I don't know if he would even get the Boozer assignment, but Boozer's looked the part. He's still going to be a great rebounder. He's a good defender. He's still such a skillful big around the rim. I'm just excited to watch his progression over the course of the year. I mean, if his high school resume, like, it's one of the best we've seen this century, like, that's got to be the indication of him being just an absolute stud in college. So any bad game, I'm not worried about Cameron Boozer. It wasn't as eye-popping as, like, I don't even remember who Darryn Peterson played in his first game. It was a green color team, and that's like how, like, they were, no offense to them, but it's not like they're a top, like, 100 school. Or Dybantsa's first game, was it against? I think their second game was against Nova, so I don't think their first game was against much competition either. I could be wrong. So we'll see how it looks for Boozer going forward. Wasn't the greatest game against Texas. I'm not worried, though. If you remember Cooper Flagg, people were ready to, like, not like him a lot after the Kansas game last year. We had some turnovers late in the game. I don't remember if it was, I think it was Kansas. Was it Kansas? Where he, like, turned the ball over, like, really late in the game a couple times. I feel like it was a Boo school. Either way, though, Boozer's going to be fine. I wonder, like, his floor right now is still number 3. I'm not even close to saying Ament, Brown, Caleb Wilson, anybody's better. So he is Nate Ament 4. That's what I had going into the year. I think, like, when you look at Nate Ament's floor as a prospect, it is way lower than a lot of the guys you're going to talk about here in the top, like, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I said 6, 7. So Nate Ament, though, could definitely, like, struggle a little bit with his, like, absorption of contact, finishing around the rim with contact, getting by defenders. Like, he's very lanky. He needs to be a little bit stronger down the stretch, but throughout his exhibition and start to the season for Tennessee, he's been doing a great job getting to the free throw line, which I think is encouraging. A lot of the analytics, or at least you look at some of the data over prospects in recent years, free throw rate is a nice indication of what you could be at the NBA level. Getting to the free throw line, knowing when to, like, absorb contact, draw contact. His shot hasn't been the best so far this year. He had, like I've said it before, the late growth spurt in high school. I don't trust Rick Barnes as maybe, like, the guy to, like, develop him this year. But he's playing with Jacoby Gillespie. Tennessee's still a good roster, and I think he has the tools to go number 4. And I think he's looked fine enough where that hasn't changed for me. Although Mikel Brown, Koa Peat, and Caleb Wilson are literally right there. Like, it's the top 3. And until further notice, it's like the next tier of guys, I think, with, like, Brown, Wilson, Pete, Ament, Chris Cenac, some of those guys. So Mikel Brown's 5. Now, he had one of the more impressive games this season. He was unreal against Kentucky. Sick game to start off the year. You got Lexington versus Louisville, and it did not disappoint whatsoever. The Louisville backcourt is absurd with talent they have this year. And Mikel Brown Jr. does a great job getting to the rim. He has him listed as 6'4". I'm pretty sure if you go to Louisville's website, he's listed as 6'6", which he doesn't look 6'6" out there. Maybe he's listed as 6'5", and I said 6'3", 6'4". But he's somebody that's going to be, I think, so skillful around the rim, kind of like Dylan Harper last year for Rutgers. He looked great as a three-point shooter against Kentucky, which was kind of like the intel or the stats he had going into this collegiate season. And there's reasons why he's, like, touted as the best Louisville freshman since Donovan Mitchell, and he looks the part so far this year. He's been off to a great start. The handle looks great. We'll see how he looks like against bigger, stronger defenders, like when he plays Duke and he's got to go up against Cameron Boozer and Patrick Ngongba and Malik Brown and those guys. It's going to be a tough test for him, but I'm excited to see it nonetheless. I mean, Kentucky, I would have loved to see them with Jayden Quaintance, who's still recovering from the ACL tear. That would have been a good test for Brown as, like, a good rim protector. Like, Malachi Moreno's, like, okay right now. But yeah, Brown Jr., I would probably have him as 5. I have him at 5 in my big board. So Chris Cenac at 6. He hasn't been, like, too impressive so far to start off the year. Houston has not also been that impressive. Like, they played a couple close games so far for the competition they've gone up against. And center 1 in this class is so up for grabs because maybe Cameron Boozer's a small ball 5 at the NBA level, but as, like, a true traditional big man, it's like Chris Cenac, it's Steinbeck at Washington, it's Vasar at UNC, it's Ngongba at Duke. Definitely Cenac has, like, the tools and the potential and the rim protection upside to be the 6th overall pick in the draft. And if you look at that range right now, it's like Dallas, I don't think they would go for one. Like OKC, eventually Hartenstein, you worry about the Sorber ACL tear. Sacramento definitely needs some rim protection help. I mean, Memphis could be in the market for one. Definitely Charlotte, that's probably one of his better fits so far. So I think those could be good teams to target Cenac in the top 10. But I think it's I don't know. I've heard Sam mention the Jaren Jackson Jr. comp. I don't know if I could buy into the Cenac shot, but any big man that can space the floor is really going to have their draft stock kind of excel throughout the process. Jayden Quaintance, 6'8", 6'9" in a way. So like not your traditional big man size, but he is so physical and has such good like hand-eye coordination around the rim and doesn't foul a ton, where you can really trust his like athletic ability, the pop in his vertical leap. Arizona State last year, what, Big 12 play? Like from what I remember watching him, I mean, there was just the glimpses of what it could be as like an elite rim protector. He could not go into the draft last year because of his age. And hey, Kentucky, SEC, it's going to be good competition for Quaintance this year. We'll see what happens as he recovers from the ACL tear. Am I worried about a 17-year-old kid, like literally a kid, tearing his ACL? Not as much as somebody that's 27 or 37, right? So I think he'll be just fine. And if he could just look basically what he did last year at Arizona State, there's a great chance that he's going to go in the top 10. Every team that you talk about with like Chris Cenac going, it could be the same thing with Jayden Quaintance. So coming in here at number 8, we have Koa Peat, who I was a little bit lower on. I had him around like 12 on my preseason big board. He has that monster game against Florida, who has one of the best front courts in the country to start off the year. I mean, what a sick game, right? To basically start off the season. He was Arizona's best player and looks like Arizona's best player this year. He's like in that tweener size as well. He hasn't really attempted any threes this year, and he's like 6'7", maybe 6'8". You can give it to him. He kind of plays more like a big, like a really athletic big, and not like a 6'7" wing like Sam is listed at. See, like it says 6'7" wing here, but they talk about 6'8" wing. So like we won't know these guys as like full accurate measurements until the combine in May when they like get measured by the NBA level. We'll see about the 3-point shot, because he mentions here like 66% from the free throw line, didn't even attempt a 3. It's been kind of the same thing this year. Oh, this is actually after some of the start of the season. I think it was after opening night, because this came out on the 4th. Opening night might have been the 3rd that Monday. So we'll see if Pete's 3-point shot will kind of develop over the course of the season. Tounde Yessoufou coming in at number 9. I'm a little bit higher on Yessoufou. I have him in like that 7 range. I mean, you just got to bank on the athleticism. He is maybe the most athletic player in this top 7. It's like him, it's probably Dybantsa, and it's probably Darryn Peterson is like the best, or not Peterson, sorry. It's Yessoufou, Dybantsa, like for the wing athleticism, probably those 2 guys in this class. And Yessoufou obviously like stood out, like he mentions here, the Nike Hoop Summit. He plays like Anthony Edwards, and he's looked good so far this year for Baylor. The efficiency hasn't been like off to a perfect start, but I just think his ball handling ability, his defensive intensity, and the athleticism will take him a long ways this season. Just keep an eye on that 3-point shot. Could be a big swing skill. Will he end up like a VJ Edgecombe, or is he going to end up at like a Jacoby Walter type draft stock this year? But I like Yessoufou a lot. No reason to count him out so early in the year. Labaron Philon coming in at number 10. All right, he's high on Philon. Philon was in like, I think he's in my mid to late teens. Have him like around the Darius Acuff range. And Philon, 6'3", was so freaking good against St. John's, who prides itself on defensive physicality, defensive intensity, and he really could just like carve up opposing teams' defenses this year. He's looked like a beast. He looked great for Alabama in like their exhibition games going into the year. He is their best player this year. Him and Holloway, that backcourt, one of the best backcourts in the country. They've stood out this year, and Philon could definitely play himself into a first-round pick. Who cares that he's a sophomore, right? Like, there's a good chance he's the second best pure point guard in this draft. Maybe even better than Mikel Brown Jr., you may think. He's a little bit smaller, a little bit less, I think, stronger as well. Doesn't weigh as much, so we'll see how that looks. 6'3", like, does he measure in at 6'2"? What if he's 6'1.5" at the combine? I don't know. Like, that could hurt his draft stock a little bit. But based off pure production this year, Philon's been not just like one of the best guards in the country, but one of the best overall players in the country this year. Like Otega Owe was like the staple SEC guy going into the year. Based off their starts, maybe it's Philon. Braylon Mullins coming in at number 11. Unfortunately for Mullins, he had an ankle injury, I believe. Doesn't mention it. Yeah, ankle injury that he suffered right before the season started. He looked good against, who was their exhibition game against? I want to say it was against Boston College. I could be wrong. And UConn, like, it's a shame. UConn's playing BYU. Might even be like this weekend. I don't even know if it happened by the time you guys are seeing this at the TD Garden, because UConn's got its Boston connections, and Agent Advance is from, it's like Brockton, Brockport, wherever in Massachusetts. And that would have been a sick game if Mullins was playing in. Now, UConn has plenty of draft prospects on their roster, not named Braylon Mullins, but he looked great in the exhibition games. He was like Mr. Basketball in Indiana. I think he mentions that, or at least, yeah, I know he was Mr. Basketball in Indiana, and he's a really good athlete at 6'5". I'm excited to watch him when he's back. Bennett Sturts, I don't know if he's going to be like a system point guard. He's been off to a solid start this year for Ben McCollum and the Iowa Hawkeyes. He like can attack zones. He runs transition, maybe as good as anybody. He can finish around the rim. Older guy though, D2, played at Drake last year, tore up Mizzou and Texas Tech in the tournament, which is like with not the best team around him at Drake for sure. But yeah, like he played for Ben McCollum at Drake. He goes to Iowa with him. Competition is going to be great this year in the Big Ten. I think he's looked the part this year. So he has starts behind Labaron, Philon. Brayden Burries here at 13. So this is, I'm getting like a little Jayden or Jaleel Bethea vibe. So I like Burries, but I do wonder if like Dwayne Aristode, I like Aristode, right? I haven't looked at too much Aristode like film going into this year. And this year, like I've been focused on like Peat and Burries. But like Aristode, he might be better than Burries, I think maybe at the end of the day. I don't know if it's like Jaleel Bethea vibes, but I think we're high on Burries, and I wonder if he's going to have that production this year at Arizona. Clearly, it doesn't matter if you have the tools and the tape, because Karter Bryant wasn't the most productive player offensively last year for the Wildcats, and he still went 14 in a good draft. So keep an eye on Burries. Been a little bit less involved this year for the Wildcats, and we'll see how that goes moving forward. The international prospects this year have been not like a mess, but like Dash Daniels has not been great offensively and also really not involved a ton offensively for Melbourne United this year. The defensive tape is as advertised, like his brother Dyson Daniels, and he was great against the Pelicans in their preseason game against the Illawarra Hawks, and he actually was like kind of solid in that game offensively. I think he had like around 9 points. It's just like he's going to be a shooting guard or small forward at the NBA level. Can you trust the offensive game? It's exactly like, it's such a lazy comp. He's exactly reminding me of how Dyson Daniels was at the G League Ignite. He really is. So Yaxel Lendeborg coming at 15. This is where people like overreact the hell out of this. Now, Yaxel might be playing through like a hand injury right now, but he's been off to a slow start at Michigan this year. Like a Day Mara has looked a lot better. Elliot Cadeau has looked a lot better for the Michigan Wolverines. And Lendeborg dominated the American Conference at UAB last year. So this is a completely different ball game at Michigan, and we'll see. I mean, I think Dustin May, geez, yeah, what is he, the pitcher? Dusty May is going to get the most out of Lendeborg this year, and I think he's playing injured, but he's just kind of struggling where he knows best, around the glass, inside, mid-range this year, but I'm fine with him. He's just going to be a little bit of an older prospect, like the Silva range from the 24 draft, and who was like an older guy last year, like Nick Clifford, right? Caleb Wilson coming in at number 16. Wow, lower on Wilson. I will say, though, I don't think the Kansas game has happened by the time he made this article. His defensive intensity stood out. This man was flying all over the place in the first half and the second half, diving for loose balls, hyping up the crowd. You could see the athleticism, the adrenaline from the game in Caleb Wilson. I would not want to play against this guy because he is flying on every single rebound, and he is just like, it's so chaotic with him out there, and he was very skilled around the rim. He knocked down his free throws. I still don't love like his offensive feel right now on the perimeter or with the ball in his hands. I definitely don't trust it. It's a little wonky. It's a little bit chaotic, and the ball handle isn't perfect, but he's got like the tools, the potential, the defensive upside where it's like he could maybe be like a Jonathan Isaac type prospect for what he could be defensively and with his insane wingspan. So Thomas Haugh coming in at number 17. He's probably been the best player on the Florida Gators this year. I don't know if anybody's made this comp yet, but I see a lot of Kyle Filipowski in Haugh's game. Not like a perfect three-point shooter, but I like the form. I like the feel to his jumper, and I think he could be fine enough at the NBA level. Not a great athlete, like too small to be a center, but like too big to be like a traditional small forward in the league. So I kind of like him as like a stretch four, smart player, knows his limitations in a way, and I think like could play off really good point guard play like we saw last year with Quaintance. It's been an adjustment period with Fland and Xavier Lee this year. Isiah Harwell coming in at 18. I don't know if he's hurt, but I know he didn't play in their last game as well. I was very excited about Harwell coming into this year. We haven't seen too much of him at Houston. At least the game recently was like all Kingston Flemings. It was all like there's obviously Uzan and Sharp and Tugler, Cenac, and Harwell's kind of not really been that involved this year. We'll see where his playing time comes over the course of the year. I really liked his EYBL tape from last year, so I'm hoping we see just more sample size throughout the course of the year. Karter Knox here coming in at 19, maybe been overshadowed recently by Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff at Arkansas. I mean, he had a great end to the season last year, so we'll see how that can translate over the course of the year. I'm not worried too much about Karter Knox. So here's Dwayne Aristode at Arizona. He didn't really play too much against Florida, but he played against like Utah Tech, and it was either Northern Arizona or Northern Iowa they played. He looked way better in that game. Like, he has that modern day size, skill, ball handle ability to be like that 3-and-D guy at the NBA level, where you can kind of trust him with the ball in his hands. And they mentioned here, like, he had a foot injury, which held him out during his senior year at Brewster, which is a very respectable high school academy. So keep an eye on him this year. Could end up higher than Burries at the end of the year. JoJo Tugler, still like a tweener size guy, but it's just like, he was my preseason pick to win Defensive Player of the Year at college. He's not like a traditional 5, you could see with 6'7", but he's so smart. He plays so strong. You're not beating him outside the post. He can step up on a screen. He can play and drop. He can just run all over the place on the court. Good transition defender as well. Could get a chase down block. And yeah, I think based on defense, he can go in the first round this year. It's been on display this year. Patrick Ngongba was a guy that, like, I was like, keep an eye on going into the year. Could be the #1 center in the class, like higher than Cenac. He's looked pretty good this year. He had a really good game against Army. Not going to look into that one too much. Don't disrespect to the troops, but we'll see how he goes up against like Sarr in the ACC and some of the other better big men in the Atlantic Conference, the Atlantic Coastal Conference. But yeah, Patrick Ngongba, I think, has the athleticism, the rim protection ability, the lob threat catching to be a top, like a lottery pick towards the end of the day. Like, not as freakish of an athlete, and the size isn't as imposing as Kaman Mali Watch, but moves a little bit better, I would say. Darius Acuff, 23 here. I know Sam does not like smaller guards for the most part. I remember he was pretty down on Jeremiah Fears and like Rob Dillingham. So Acuff, not as tall as Mikel Brown, maybe not as like physically talented or gifted as like a Labaron Philon, excuse me, but Acuff also killed like the EYBL circuit. He was maybe the best player in the EYBL circuit, if I remember correctly. And Arkansas isn't going to have like a bunch of first round picks, right? Like, it's not going to be Knox and Thomas and Acuff. I would say so far, Acuff and Louis Thomas have been a little bit more impressive than Karter Knox. He's lower on Karim Lopez, and going into the year, I was intrigued about Karim Lopez's potential. I don't think this guy's ever going to be like a #1 option at the NBA level. There's complementary play in his ability. There's 3-and-D stretch 4 ability. The D has been a little bit all over the place for the Breakers, but it's good competition. Like, these are former NBA players out there. I think Montrezl Harrell got let go, but it's like that caliber of player out there. And he's been knocking down his threes lately for the Breakers. He had a good game against like the Owara Hawks. Was the last game I watched on Halloween of him. And he's just like, I don't know. I could see his NBA numbers looking one day. Like, at his peak, it's like not Tari Eason, because he's not as like physically talented and gifted as a defender with his speed and quickness. But it's like 12 points, 5 rebounds, like this great weapon off the bench. Maybe what people thought Tijan Salon would have been right now, I would say. I like Lopez as a prospect more than Salon. Dame Sarr at 25. He's been knocking down his threes this year. I think Evan should have gone higher in his mock, but he has Dame Sarr here at 25, who, yeah, has been starting for Duke. I didn't know if that was going to happen. Maybe he got a promise from Shire coming out of Barcelona that he was going to start. And this man is like freakish size, and that's like showcased for his defensive ability right now. And there's a chance he can go a lot higher than 25, like Drake Powell-esque this year. Miles Bird at 26. I never loved Miles Bird as a prospect. I wasn't as high as anybody. Like, I didn't think he was a first rounder last year. People liked him as a first rounder. He was not good in the second half of the collegiate season. We'll see how he looks this year for San Diego State. I'm a little bit more intrigued as Magoon Guath as like a prospect than Bird, but Guath hasn't really played this year with an injury, so we'll see what happens with Bird's stock over the course of the year. Miles Uzan at 27, older prospect, older guard, but good defender, super efficient as well, knows his role. And he's definitely a better defender than like Tyrese Proctor, probably a better shooter as well, but maybe a similar prospect in a way if you're looking for that archetype and mold. Nicolas Avdilas going here at 28. I mean, he had that unreal game. I mean, that, like, his highlight tape from that game against Providence went viral on Twitter. It's just one game. Providence isn't the best team in college basketball, so we got to see Avdilas look against Duke, UNC, Louisville, etc. But it's intriguing. Like, coming over from Greece, would have been a second round pick last year. I had like a top 60 grade on him, and it's nice to be able to watch him at Virginia Tech than trying to watch him play in Greece, where you're looking at just like really spotty YouTube clips of him. And he's very talented. He can create separation nicely. He had a bad game, I think, before Providence or after Providence, so we'll see how he looks over the course of the year, but could definitely be a lottery pick. Sergio Delara, so he has him listed as a wing. I guess I kind of like him as like a hybrid wing guard, maybe like a Stefan Castle type, like tweener on that end. But he's been knocking down his threes this year for Valencia in the ACB. That was like a big thing with him last year, where I had him like a late second round grade. If you remember, like I liked him more than Juan Nunez in the 2024 draft. And I think he's playing like a first round pick this year. Helps. I don't know if it helps that it's a weak international class, but we'll see who's like the best international guy. Better offensive player than Lopez or Dash Daniels, at least right now, more polished. So he has Isaiah Evans at 30. I thought Evans could have been a first rounder last year. Like I would have taken him over Jace Richardson, maybe if I was the Orlando Magic. Like that's how good of a shooter Evans was. He decides to go back to Duke. He's looked like a great shooter to start off the year. He moves so well without the ball in his hands. This guy's going to be a first round pick for sure. I think I liked him more than Liam McNeely last year, and he went back to school. So some notable names in the second round. He has Pettiford at 31 and Brayden Smith. That's like the highest I've seen him at 32. He had another great game against Alabama, against Philon and Haugh. They just beat Alabama, right? Steinbeck here at 33. He was an honorable mention for me. People were like, you're way too low. I think we have to just be a little patient with Steinbeck. I like Christian Anderson as a first rounder. He had a really good game to start off the year. Struggled against Illinois. I like Andrei Storakovic maybe as a fringe first rounder guy as well. Tomislav Ivicic. I never really thought he was going to be better than his brother Zvonimir, but he is. JC Toppin at 36. Great college player. We'll see how he looks at the NBA level. Cameron Cart, 37. Nate Biddle, 38. Adam Atama from Asval. I haven't gotten to watch him yet, but I've heard his name a couple times. I don't really see it in Floyd Badunga. Just kind of like a weird positional size as well. I don't project him to be a great defender at the NBA level. I like Paul McNeil. I definitely like Henry Vasar over him as well. Boogie Fland at 41. I don't know. I'm becoming like out on Boogie Fland. Like I was out on DJ Wagner, might be out on Boogie Fland as well. As definitely a first round guy. Paul McNeil, keep an eye on him this year at NC State. Caravan, you guys have definitely heard that name before. Anthony Robinson at Mizzou, keep an eye on him as well. Maybe better than Tamar Bates. Joshua Jefferson at Iowa State. Haven't looked too much at him. Donovan Dent, been banged up a little bit for UCLA, but one of the better scoring guards in the country. I think Richie Saunders, like plug and play. Like I think he's like way more offensively talented than like Barnheiser. So I think Sanders would go ahead of like Boogie Fland and maybe even Pettiford, like right now. Darren Williams, met amongst boys recently against, I forgot who they played, but he was a monster in their last game. Alex Condon 50, Otega Owe 51. Grunma here from Virginia. I heard a lot about him. And there's been like some interesting like bigs playing at like Arizona State, like the Diop guy. I need to watch a little bit more. Momo Faye out of Senegal. Tucker DeVree, he has going in the class out of Indiana. Okay. Trey Kaufman-Renn. I don't like Kaufman-Renn at the NBA level too much. Like I would use an undrafted pick on him. Like a camp invite. Mackenzie Mbaku has been banged up this year. Mabako, Jesus, at A&M. Conwell, I like. Woolley, Conwell, Brown. Dude, the Louisville backcourt's unreal. Josh Sticks, I believe he's just a transfer from Iowa. I'll have to watch him this year at Creighton. I like Dalen Swain. And then there's Silas Demery. I like Swain a little bit more than some of these other guys as well. Like I like Swain more than probably Caravan at the NBA level. Definitely more than like Brayden Smith or Boogie Fland. So that is gonna be it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy this. If you did, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought about the mock or anything I said or anything you've kind of been noticing about this NBA season so far. I'm excited to drop my first mock soon over on my SROS channel. So be on the lookout for that. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.